week, RBI dashed the hopes of developers and home buyers across the country by refusing to bring down key interest rates. For those who were banking on a rate cut along with a stable government for real estate markets to recover, they're definitely in for a longer wait. Stock markets have touched an all-time high, but nothing is exciting the property markets. REITs, relaxation in FDI norms, none of those have helped. Real estate markets across key cities in India, as we will show you on the Realty Debate today, continue to be plagued by slow sales velocity and muted real estate prices. Developers still continue to sit on high unsold inventory. On this show, our question, what will it take for property markets to mirror the excitement of stock markets? And where can you find the best deals in realty before all turns around? With me today, Sunil Mantri. Let's welcome him, CMD, Mantri Realty and President, Naredco. Mr. Mantri, thank you very much for joining in. Also, Sandeep Sud, CEO, MumbaiPropertyExchange.com. Sandeep, thank you very much. Zahid Mahmood, Director, Silverline Realty, joining us from Bangalore. Rajesh Dave, President, Chennai Real Estate Agent Association from the Chennai market. So we do have a representation from across the country, and Prasann Agarwal, co-founder, PropTiger.com. Vineet Relia, Managing Director, Sare Homes. Armed with data, Sameer Jasuja, CEO and founder of Prop Equity as well, whose data is actually quite eye-popping. But first, Mr. Mantri, a reaction from you. You know, RBI has refused to cut rates. They're saying don't expect the rates to come down in a hurry, though the governor is open to cutting down rates even before the next policy, looking at how the key data pans out. Why are developers so hassled with that not happening? I mean, I've seen some extremely strong words coming out from CREDAI and Naredco.
Manisha, basically during the previous meetings with the housing minister, he clearly indicated that home loan should be around 7 to 8%. To happen that, you need to cut down the interest rate constantly so that we can reach to that level. We were having the expectation that at least 0.25, I'm not expecting 0.5, but 0.25 cut will be there. It will give a very good sentiments in the market, a positive sentiments in the market. And secondly, there was a statement from HDFC and other couple of bankers that they don't mind reducing the rate so that the demand can pick up. Now the industry is facing crisis from various fields. There is no enough liquidity available. RBI is not giving a clear signal whether they want to reduce the interest rate or not. I think buyers are getting confused. There is a huge liquidity issue in real estate as well as many other fields, because I believe the huge money quantum has been diverted to the stock market, and I think substantial liquidity is not available for our sector, which is required to pay off the premium to commence the construction work. And today the buyer's mentality is that they want to see the actual construction work happening, and then only they come forward for the booking. Okay. So I think the developers are facing a big triangular problem from all the sides. Not money is being given to them from the banking sector. They are extremely rigid still. They say we don't have enough liquidity, as well as we want to go very cautious on
fair
real
enough,
estate
Mr.
sector.
Mantri. I got the point. Pardon me, I've really got a bad throat. Blame the pollution, Delhi pollution on it. Vineet Relia, you know, why do we place such a high premium on interest rates for home loans? There are two divided opinions on it. One is that it doesn't really affect the demand. There are other reasons which will probably prevent a buyer from going ahead and finalizing his purchase decision. How critical are interest rates?
See, I think the way we look at it, first of all, I think, yes, there was a large expectation that the interest rates will come down. Now, in the long term scheme of things, the interest rates need to drop down heavily in India, because if you're really looking at the kind of growths we are, the entire government machinery is talking about, interest rate needs to come down. But the way we look at it, I think there are some more important measures which need to be taken in, which will affect the demand more. Just by reducing 0.5 basis points, I don't think it's going to really resolve the overall liquidity crunch. Yes, it does make a difference. So the way we look at it, I think there are other issues which are plaguing the industry. in terms of the economic.
All right, fair enough. So there are larger issues which need to be taken care of. Sameer Jasuja, your view, money is there, definitely. If you've got investors returning to the stock markets which were languishing, why are they not looking at real estate at all?
No, I think on the contrary, I think there's a lot of real estate private equity money that is coming into the country as we speak right now. It's coming in form of structured debt, and they are willing to now lend at much lower rates than what previously developers were borrowing at. So yes, money in the equity market in real estate is not coming in, and that's primarily because not many people have seen exits going forward. I think the bigger challenges on the ground have been in most of the cities, especially in the north, the projects have been oversold in terms of there is huge inventory pileup that has happened because projects were launched one after the other. In certain cities, as I was mentioning in the program earlier, there is more supply that's coming in this year than has come in the last 25 years. That's one reason. The second reason is prices have really gone up through the roof over the last 3-4 years, and the affordability is just not there. The economy hasn't done very good either, and people are insecure about their jobs even now to make these long-term bets on housing, taking a large housing finance and servicing it over 20 years or 15 years.
Okay.
I don't think the interest rate variation of 1% here or there is going to change anything really that much.
What's your view?
So I think there are two ways to kind of look at it. When we look at interest rates, one is, of course, what impact it makes in terms of the EMI that a customer is selling out to buy a property. But at the same time, what it does is basically it introduces more liquidity in terms of helping the economy grow. Okay. And when the growth of the economy happens, that's when, people, there are more jobs, people get more comfortable in terms of, taking long-term bets, as Sameer said. That's where I think the sentiment of actually having an interest rate cut and the resulting, impact on the growth of the economy is what basically, would be the real trigger in terms of the end user coming into the market.
Okay. And I'm just wondering, Prasanth, first of all, big congratulations on that big investment that you've got from News Corp. I'm just wondering, somewhere sales have to start taking off because there is a lot of excitement in at least the .com space when it comes to housing. All right, let me also run through some figures and do a sanity check. This is prop equity data of unsold stock. Now, which are the top markets across country which are looking very heavy with supply? Look at Greater Noida, particularly Noida Extension is what we are talking about. 55,000 units unsold, a little over that number. In Mumbai region, it's Navi Mumbai Panvel, which has 13,000 plus unsold units. Ghaziabad, back to NCR, Rajnagar Extension, almost 13,000 unsold units. Back to MMR, Thane, Virar West, 8,500 plus unsold units. And then you have Gurgaon, Dwarka Expressway, 8,200 unsold units. Now also let's look at the slowest markets when it comes to inventory overhang, which are selling the least. So you pretty much captured the top 5 between NCR, Ghaziabad, let's take that as UP, and MMR. These are the markets which have the maximum unsold inventory or unsold stock. Slowest selling markets, which of course is reflected with inventory overhang, prop equity data shows Hyderabad, Maheshwar Mandal, 249 months. And I've got some very interesting data here. There are 1,700 flats there, only about 7 sell in a month. That's how poor the average has been. Hyderabad, Bandlaguda, 134 months of inventory overhang. Again, 1,750 odd flats, 13 flats sell a month. Ghaziabad, Tronika City, 151 months of inventory overhang. Mumbai, Wadala, 73 months of inventory overhang. And Mulund West, 68 inventory overhang, 68 months. I do have Bangalore data. So I'm going to go to the Bangalore guest next. Kambalgodu, Banashankari and Vidya Ranipura. These are the markets which look extremely, extremely slow in Bangalore. Though if you look at the other markets of MMR and NCR, they actually look a little bit better. All right, so Mr. Mahmood, what's happening in your market? How bad is the slowdown?
See, Bangalore, I would disagree with you, Manisha, because you see, we have a lot of movement from the IT sector, and most of our buyers are end users here. Unlike other markets where we have people who are investing more to make
the reason, sir, that you've not
investment
featured in
as
the
a
top.
form of,
Hold your
return.
thought there,
But
Mr.
here
Mahmood.
you have end users here.
Right, but that's the reason why you've not figured in the slowest markets across India. Even then, I have markets and micro markets where your inventory overhang has crossed 50 months. So markets have slowed down, maybe not as much as rest of India.
I agree with you on that, Manisha, but overall, you see, I would say builders are pretty smart here in the Bangalore market, and they have not really gone beyond what they can handle here.
Okay.
Most of them are building, right kind of products here which are selling in the market, and their focus seems to be more on IT, and IT is still doing reasonably well here.
Okay.
So I would look at Bangalore because it's not been a speculative market. That is probably one of the reasons why we've not been hit so badly, Manisha.
All right, so over to Chennai now and some data from the Chennai market. You've got Oragadam, you also have Tirupurur and Punamalli, all three markets showing fairly stagnant sales. Mr. Dave, Chennai market doesn't have the benefit now of the IT workforce. In fact, it's losing out to Bangalore in a big way. You also have production shutting down of large factories. Is your market distressed in a big way?
Well, I would like to point out certain things like Chennai is not totally dependent on the IT sector. We have a mix of all the brick and mortar industries as well as the heavy engineering, the telecom and other industries. While having said that, the Oragadam, the Sriperumbudur sector was where the major top Fortune 100 companies had made their home of manufacturing. And of late there have been one or two unfortunate cases where they have had to close shop. But then the whole idea of the Sriperumbudur and Oragadam industrial sector has been that it is giving a lot of potential for other industries to come in. And though at the present there has been a stagnancy in terms of sales, but I'm sure with the government looking at doing some proactive measures in terms of infrastructure, things should improve maybe in the next year.
Okay, fair enough. So everybody is agreeing to the fact that the markets have slowed down, whether it's Chennai or Bangalore, though Bangalore seems to be the most protected. In fact, even the data which I'm seeing, Pune seems to be fairly protected so far. So let's go back to the two markets which have seen the maximum distress, which is NCR and MMR. So start with NCR. Prasann, what's happening? I mean, look at the kind of stock which is there in Noida Extension and look at the slowness of sale. Is it scary? You'd think that prices will crack in that market. It's already come down a little bit. New launches are happening at a very modest pace. But do you think that there is room for prices to actually crack further?
No, so when we look at the Noida Extension market specifically, I think prices there are pretty reasonable. Currently at about 3,200, 3,500 rupees a square feet. And, given the cost of land and the cost of construction and the fact that, the prices have been stable over the last 2 years, and now with a lot of attractive schemes in terms of payment plans that the developers are offering, they are approximately, translate to about 8 to 10% of discount on the price that I just quoted. So I think it's a very reasonable price for the kind of infrastructure that has been developed there. Of course, it will take some time to, clear the inventory that exists there. But I think, I don't see any price correction happening in that market. I think sales will continue to be stable till we see some revival in terms of interest rate cut and economic revival where we think that, sales will start picking up.
Okay. Sameer, would you agree with that? Because I know that you quote a number of 1,50,000 on the Noida Expressway, which is supply that they haven't seen in the last 25 years. And after Noida Expressway comes Noida Extension. So what's your own gut feel?
See, micro markets where pricing is between 3,000 and 4,000 rupees a square foot, I don't see any price dropping over there because like Prasann pointed out, there's not much room and the land is just going more and more expensive. So I don't think, and cost of construction is also, going up. At the same time, other markets where there is just no demand, and more importantly, NCR markets are 50% being bought through investors. Those investors have taken a complete flight, and they are coming back into the market and offering distress sales and going out there and offering properties that they have bought into at lower rates than the prices at which they have bought into.
Okay.
So that is causing this whole mess in terms of pricing, which is really now has got two rates. There is a primary rate and there is a resale under construction rate, and the gap between them is 40 to 45%.
Really?
Yeah.
Good Lord. Sandeep Sad, what's happening in the MMR market? Is that also reflecting similar picture as the NCR market? Resale is happening at a deep discount to frontal sales or primary sales?
Yes, to an extent, we have the same factors here, but I think Mumbai market is smarter by the day. We have a lot of 20/80 schemes. Now it's gone to 5, 75 and 20 as well, so you only pay 5%. So whilst the discount is not so much visible on the front, it's definitely there from the back end by giving out these kind of a scheme.
Okay.
And I think Mumbai market is more towards the structured schemes going forward, because more financially you have more viability for the home buyer. That's the time he'll come out and buy out, because we have issues of delayed possessions and so on. So the buyer totally feels comfortable with the structured financial scheme, with a subvention scheme or a 20/80 kind of a thing. So I think Mumbai market will be stable. Of course, you will have slower days, slower weeks, slower months, but I think overall, I think Mumbai market is still pretty much there. The Mumbai story remains there. And with the new government and all the new infrastructure coming up, airport story now coming up, we have just a few weeks for the final allotments of the airport, tender and other infrastructure projects with the new government here. I think Mumbai is pretty strong.
All right, Mumbai is pretty strong, but then sales are happening on schemes. And what are the best schemes in the market? There's 80/20, there's 95/5, there's subvention. There's just so many words floating around. We've got a great panel today. We'll come back and assess those. And of course, are you catching a falling knife in case you buy property right now, or are there actually great markets that are offering you value which you can buy into? All of that on the Realty Debate in just a moment. We all know there's a housing market lull, but there is, of course, time and opportunity to locate the best deals as well. There are projects which are getting offered at discounts. There are also great subvention schemes from developers. So with my panel today, I think the idea is to be able to identify, because come what may, real estate remains a hard asset that everybody in India wants to own. They feel more comfortable with. Flavor of the season is, of course, stock markets, but real estate ain't going anywhere. Sunil Mantri, I have, of course, a list of great plans which are being offered by developers. But are these plans actually enticing the buyer to come in? We heard from Mr. Sad in terms of how much confidence they give the buyer, but is it really helping in reviving sales?
Yes, I think it's a good gimmick currently which is happening, and buyers are feeling very comfortable. For example, if you offer say 80/20 or 10/90 or say 10/80/10, wherein you don't have to pay the installment. The developer take care of the installment till the possession is being handed over. So it's a one way to give say 10 to 15% discount to the consumer. So he is very much tempted. Secondly, in Mumbai, city like Mumbai, we have a floor rise, sea view, the premium location and so on. In many of the project, we are absorbing this. We are giving many facilities free. For example, parking, club membership, little bit furniture in the flat, some of the project with stamp duty, subvention. So I think all these gimmicks or all these marketing strategies are working very, very well. They are forcing the buyer to take their decision. In the few project, we have a minimum amount to be paid. Say you can book the flat with say 1 lakh rupee or 5 lakh rupees and so on. That is also working very, very well, where the buyer are feeling more comfortable. They can come and buy the property with lesser quantum of the money and thereafter opt for the loan and so on. I think these all various methods of marketing are working really well. They are pushing the buyers to come forward and take the decision.
Vineet Relia, can we assume that probably in today's condition, market condition, it would be impossible to sell if you didn't have a scheme for the buyer.
See, I think the way you look at it, like Samir mentioned very correctly, the investors are really not there in the market. If they're there, they're looking out for only distressed deals or developer who are distressed. So, for example, at Sare Homes, we've come out with this Smart Advantage payment plan where we are targeting actual users who have a loan eligibility, but they do not have the upfront money, which ranges from 10 lakhs to 21 lakhs. So they don't have that upfront money to give up straight away. So what we've done is we've broken that up into installments over the next 2-3 years till possession. So what happens is the biggest deterrent of taking over a property is removed. So that has really helped for us. Sales have picked up again. We've now launched this in NCR and next week we are launching in Chennai. So that has actually brought us the actual users, which was the ultimate target anyways. So I think it's a good opportunity, a very good time for actual users to go out and get these deals.
Okay. Sandeep sir, I have a list of all the deals which are there in the Mumbai market, at least some key ones which we've sourced from PropTiger, the information for. You know, is there a catch in these schemes? Because a lot of analysts also believe that you may give a subvention scheme, but you also end up pricing the product higher because ultimately someone has to bear the cost of the finance, isn't it? It's developers don't have the bandwidth to bear that cost. So are these products priced higher? Do you get that impression?
See, this typically depends on where the project is located, who is the developer, and what is the micro market all about. So let's say if there is a micro market which is very stressed or a project which is in a weak location, the developer has to absorb that little bit of an interest, maybe 1,000 rupees a square feet, to get the traction into the project. Otherwise, he is not able to sell in any case. So certain things, yes, you're right, there is no free lunch. You'll have to pay certain interest. However, we have to see the scheme. A lot of things are like fit-out possession. You know, you'll get total, when you get the keys, there are certain builders saying that you'll only start your EMIs when you get the keys. Certain guys are saying you get on fit-out possession. Certain people are saying you get only 24 months of subvention. So we have to totally clearly understand the fine print, that what is the subvention all about. And we have to also see that what is the current rate and what is the subvention rate. So you have to distinguish. So it's quite easy nowadays when the developer office says, okay, you go and ask him, look, what is the straight PLC rate? You know, so he'll say, okay, this is my rate now. So it's quite transparent today.
Is it transparent, Prasanth? Do you think so? And if you were to just evaluate the plans and, you know, how should end buyer really look at these various subvention plans? You have 10, 80, 10, you have just so many of these floating around. How do you actually make sure that you're not getting into a deal which is not good for you?
No, so of course, to start with, I think developers are pricing the project mostly, you know, under the current prevailing market rate. So I think from a pricing perspective, the price is already on the right side for the buyer. And to add to it, developers are offering, you know, these offers. I think what is important, or, you know, for the customer to understand is that as Sandeep just mentioned, I think, you know, when you look at a subvention plan, you should look at a plan which essentially protects you from paying the interest till possession and not fall in for the 24 months and 36 months of, you know, interest-free kind of a payment plan, because what happens is, you know, then there is no certainty of possession coming through, and you might end up in a soup where you start, you know, paying the EMI without getting possession of the flat. Okay. I think the most interesting plans available today in the market are the PLP, which are possession linked plan, without any, you know, interest subvention from the bank. So essentially the developer is saying that, you know, you pay me 25% upfront and then pay me the remaining 75% on possession. That is very attractive both for an investor as well as an end user, because the equity upfront is, you know, less.
Okay.
So, but of course, be careful, you know, choose the right developer, because you don't want to pay 25% and the project doesn't go live. So, you know, that's important. You know, credibility of the developer is important in the, you know, all the cases.
Okay.
And I would say the 5, 65, 10, 15 plans which are now coming up where the equity payment from customers is very, very low. You know,
they are the ones which are clicking.
Yeah, they are the ones which are clicking, but, you know, they can be a little tricky given that, you know, the equity of the customer in the project is very, very less.
Okay.
You are getting a project by paying 1 lakh rupees, and you essentially are being able to play, you know, the returns game through a very small equity commitment.
Okay,
So I think
you're talking the NCR language, returns game. All right, let me go to Mr. Mahmood. Mr. Mahmood, you know, Bangalore was one market where I thought none of these things would be needed because the developers have a very decent track record. But I have seen some leading developers of Bangalore also now having to go the subvention route. And that's why, you know, I said definitely the market is slowing down there. Are these working? Because, you know, there the buyer has far more confidence in the developer. I think NCR and MMR, that's the trust factor went missing, and that's the reason why they need subvention schemes and the completion, confidence of completion of the project.
Manisha, see, most of the Bangalore developers I mentioned to you are doing these schemes. Not very many. There are only projects which are not selling in the market where probably, you know, these schemes are being offered. And buyers need to be very careful because, you know, they should not go and buy into a product which, you know, developer will not deliver at the end of the day. And the risk is always at the buyer's end because he is taking the liability, you know. The developer is not taking the liability. The loan has to be, EMIs have to be paid by the buyer end of the day.
Okay.
And most developers in the city, the top builders are not really offering these schemes. It's just a few, you know, handful which have inventories piled up.
Okay. What about Chennai, sir? Do you feel that the Chennai market is now offering a lot of...
Sorry?
No, I'm just trying to get the Chennai information as well. Mr. Dave, what do you think is happening in the Chennai market? Yeah. Bangalore still limited, NCR hugely prevalent. You can't do sales without a scheme. What about Chennai?
Well, the Chennai market is also the same as Bangalore. Wherever the inventory is piling up in terms of Sriperumbudur, Oragadam and the OMR, those areas developers are offering the 10, 80, 10. And seeing some value, maybe they are getting good amount of sales. But well, I was talking to a few pan-India builders who are developing huge projects in the city vicinity. So I was just telling them, why not bring this offer to the city, you know? But they are really reluctant because Chennai by far is the most stable market in the country. Okay. And Chennai has never seen you know, in excess of supply, at least in the city. So even today, the city, no builder is offering this kind of a 10-80-10 scheme. So I think if overall situation is that, you know, wherever there's excess pile-up, people do offer these kind of SOPs. Okay. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, though it looks attractive for the investors, but as realtors, we do understand that while the developers are offering such schemes, they do inbuild a whole lot of these interest factors and other overheads that are piled on to these kind of you know, schemes. Okay. So I think if the developers are, you know, smarter in a way, they could even still bring down the prices while they are offering these schemes. To see that they are able to exit with you know, whatever inventory they have at the earliest and complete the project. Maybe they might not make huge amount of profits, but at least they would be able to complete the project rightfully at the right time, and the investors and the customers would be happy to get the position.
Rajesh Dave, you've actually said something that I was going to ask. Isn't it better that the developers just bring down the prices front, you know, right up front rather than running with subvention schemes? We're going to come back, get that answer, and also find out which are the best markets in various regions, whether it's Bangalore to NCR. What are the markets that one should be looking at for great deals? We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. How do you spot great deals in a lull or a real estate market which is really slow is our topic of today's discussion. Prasanna Agarwal, let's start with you. Why would developers not just bring down prices and run with so many plans?
No, it's about, you know, catching the air, whether you catch it like this or you just, you know, go around the neck and kind of catch your air. I think, as we said already, that, you know, this 20/80 schemes are effectively about a 10 to 12% discount on the price. Okay. And they offer the customer the luxury not to make any payments.
Don't you think it would be better if the prices just came down, or do you think that's shaky for the market as a whole?
So that would be a little shaky for the market, because then, you know, people are looking at the bottom.
All right.
And it might go into a tailspin.
Vineet Relia, would you believe that? That's the reason why developers are holding on to the prices. You know, schemes, yes, which anyway have inbuilt discounts built into them. Or do you think that there's an ostrich sort of a mentality amongst developers? We will not bring prices down.
No, I think it's none of that. I mean, it's you need to really evaluate every micro market and developers. But the way we look at it, you know, even if you, for example, if we are talking about a property in Gurgaon, which will typically be about 1.5 crores, 2 crores, you're talking about a booking advance of about almost 20 lakhs. Now, if you were to bring it down by even 10%, you're actually wanting the actual user to cough up almost 18 lakhs in about 60 days period. So, by bringing in schemes, what we are doing is we are actually wanting actual users to come in. So, you know, reducing the price by 10% is only going to make everybody nervous, but it's not going to help the actual users you want to buy homes. If you have an actual user who is living in a rented property, today he can't afford a double payment out. He can't afford a rent plus an EMI. So if you bring down the entry barrier of booking amount and then as well, you know, start the EMI post possession, it helps actual users to actually buy into the properties.
All right, fair enough. Got that point. So let's start spotting some of the top markets, because we are continuing to say, look, you don't know when this cycle is going to turn around. If you have greater GDP growth, you have good turnaround in the economy, interest rates coming down, all of that could actually happen in the next 6 months, and then probably you could see some traction in the real estate markets. Amit Jasuja, what would your top markets be for locating the best deals? NCR, MMR, Bangalore, Pune. Just take the entire universe and give us your top 3 picks.
Okay, so I would go with micro markets that are close to employment generation zones for sure, because they act as a hedge as well. So there is genuine end user demand, and any market that is offering end user demand today is the right market to go ahead with. So Hinjewadi would be definitely one micro market that I would pick up in Pune, because there is kind of an endless demand that is coming up over there because of the IT parks. I would choose areas near Manyata Tech Park, Hebel, and areas around, because there is also a lot of demand there, and the markets have done reasonably well, although the pricing has gone up to a higher level. If I were to look at Mumbai, because of the new airport announcement, you know, there could be some deals for a value investor that he could get in and hold on, and there could be a further price rise over there. In the NCR market, at this point in time, I would stay away.
Good Lord, my God, Samir, from NCR, and will stay away from the NCR market. One market in Mumbai, but clearly it's Pune and Bangalore which are topping the list. Mr. Dave, in Chennai, which are the markets where you think are ripe for good deals at this moment?
Well, I feel the areas in and around Adyar, that is Velachery, Perangudi, Kotivakkam, the East Coast Road, I feel is the best bet for investors and clients to invest today, because I find a lot of potential in that.
Okay.
And we definitely see that the IT industry is going to do well in this year and the next year to come. And definitely I see a lot of value for people who are going to invest there.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Mahmood, your top picks for the Bangalore market?
I would put Whitefield as one of a good market to be in.
Okay.
Then around the Outer Ring Road, especially around the Sarjapur route side, would be a good option. And one should look at, you know, locations where the metro, the extension of the second phase of metro is coming up in the city, you know. That will really add a lot of value and accessibility to all these main highways and roads.
So you're keeping
So I would
an eye
still
on
put
the
Whitefield because there's huge IT industry there, and the connections are pretty good to the location.
Okay.
I would say at metro is one of the important areas where the city will, you know, work around with.
All right, Mr. Sad, what's your view on the MMR market?
Mumbai is very difficult to predict, but I would say that keeping in mind that you've got the eastern
You have
suburbs.
to give our viewers some tips on where are the best deals.
Okay, I'll say, look, firstly, Thane still looks to me at a 7,500 to 8,500 rupees as a good bet. I would say South Mumbai, wherever we have structured schemes, very genuine ones, that's still not a bad one at 35,000, 30,000 rupees with 2080s, or, you know, a lot of developers are now even offering the pure 20% now equity, and then you pay on possession, so that's very good. I would say Andheri West over a period of time would be a good market to invest in, because We've got two infrastructure impacts coming up there in the next couple of years with the bridge to JBLR linking up. Apart from that, I do see stress on the western side, but I do see Mulund, Bhandup growing up a little bit more.
All right, okay. Prasad, NCR market, why don't you pick some, because Samir has abandoned it.
So I think, what Samir said kind of for Bangalore and Pune, I think, they are offering, great deals at this point of time.
All right.
Given the infrastructure and the pricing, Noida market still makes a lot of sense. I think the prices have been stable, the most stable given the infrastructure in the country, pretty much reflective of the cost of construction. And thus, I would say that looks at, sector 78, 79 in Noida or Noida extension, the kind of infrastructure, connectivity and pricing is a deadly combination if you look at a long-term bet. In the short term, I don't think they'll give good returns, but it's a great affordable market. I think there's a huge demand for affordable housing. If you look at any data, and I think over the longer term, the market should perform. Gurgaon, of course, I think is distressed at this point of time.
All right, so you're saying you're choosing Noida over Gurgaon. Okay, well, as we've been speaking, we've also seen a lot of projects and, of course, developers who are offering discounts. So those should be helpful to our viewers as well. Sunil Mantri, the final word from you. When do you think the market will turn around?
I think another 6 months.
Hoping that the market will turn around.
Another 6 months. See, Manisha, we have very close correlation of GDP growth. Currently, we are below 6%. I hope that another 6 months, because whatever the reform steps have taken, may take another 6 months, 9 months more time. And by the time you can see the market is moving in a positive direction.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today on the show. 6 months, not too far a time away, and that's the reason why we've done this show. Where do you locate the best deals? There are lots and lots of schemes from developers. Go with marquee developers, and you should be safe. If you're an end user, this is the time to buy a home. Gentlemen, thanks very much. And to all our viewers, thank you very much for joining us today. Goodbye, and hope you do take some important takeaways from this show and find the right home for you while the schemes are still on. Goodbye.